is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fat Nestler Run-Throughs, and I'm finally excited to say we are doing top 10 games of 2017. Yeah, I'll get this out before the end of the year. No, it will be out right there. Well, so here's the reason why it came out so late. Because Dice Tower did theirs, 2 weeks ago. Rado just did his. I tried to play every game that I wanted to play for the year. I didn't want to leave anything off and be like, I know that'll make it, and then regret it later. Right. So that's why, if anything, I will, because Rado will do his, then he'll do like an update one. That I don't want to do that either. Right. So if anything, I bull rushed a bunch of games and then made my list not too long ago.
There are a handful.
There are a few I wasn't able to get to, but in all honesty, even if I did play them, they would probably just squeak in onto the list. So I am very, very happy with my list. What do you think of this year as a whole?
I thought it was pretty good.
For gaming-wise, sorry. The year, like the way the year, I mean, this year sucked, but better than 2016.
I'd have to look at lists for, like,
I have my
last
list
few
for
years
2016.
just to kind of see, but I mean, I look at the stuff that has trickled out this year. I would say it didn't have super huge deals necessarily, with the exception of a couple of games, but there's a lot of good games. Yeah. There's a large number. Like there was a lot of games that could have went on this list.
Yeah, I had a total of 40 games.
I was like around 30.
I played this year.
Like that.
And I mean, I think this was a really good era in games. A lot of innovation, a lot of trying to definitely be, artistic. Right. With games like reaching out to, themes that haven't been touched on, or, maybe, hey, we're scared to touch on these games, making them more than just, party games, you know what I'm saying? So I thought this was a great year. This was a very hard list for me to make.
Yeah. It was hard for me to figure the order.
I see. That's what I mean.
My top 10 was pretty cut and dry.
Mine were pretty, the order of the things. I had to do the index where I wrote each game on an index and then sorted it out that way. And even then I sat there like, is this right? And then once
And of these games on here, there's some of them that I've only played like maybe 3 times.
Right.
This would change. Like, if we had another 2 months before we did this list would probably look different just because of the play numbers of them,
I think, okay, so there's a few on here that I've played 2 or 3 times, but I think it would still be pretty close. Because luckily with me is like, I can pretty much gauge an impression on how I feel about a game from the first. And like I said, I've been wrong before, but most of the time I'm like, yep, that's pretty much how I feel about it. And I can see this is really what it's going to bring each time. So anyway, I should mention I have done a run through for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've done a run through for all of these games except for 1.
And I'm saying we're gonna have 3 crossover.
Yep, you're saying you're gonna have 3 crossover.
Counting
the honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Okay, I think there's gonna be 1.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and start with me. For the honorable mention, which is funny because we were just talking about it, my honorable mention is actually Near and Far. And the reason it just didn't make the list because a lot of the games that I was looking at, I was like, no, I didn't really like that. I don't think Unlock or Exit would really make it for me. I hadn't played that. So Near and Far was bumped off because it still holds the first game. If you're playing the character mode where you're just doing quests for your character, or just a regular game, I think a singles game of Near and Far will give you kind of that same feeling of above and below, especially if you're playing more relaxed. But that campaign really, that's why it's not anywhere near like higher on this list, because in the campaign you're trying to get the most points total, so you're trying to pump out all those 10s, where in just a single one, you're more casual about it. And that's why, like I keep saying, the very first game we played was awesome. Very story-driven, very, thematic and great. And after listening to other people talk about it, Dice Tower, it was on their list, Rado made his list. It is a very streamlined and solid worker placement as well. So That's why it's an honorable mention.
My honorable mention was that one that ended up being on the disappointing list.
Oh, on the disappointing list?
My honorable mention is Gloom Haven. Like I said, great game. I want to play it more to see, just to get it. There's just that one mechanic that keeps it from being that high.
Yeah.
And the hand management deal and resting and losing your cards in your deck. You know, there's so much story to tell there. I'm definitely not wanting to
spoil anything, right?
I'm just not, you know, I don't want to dismiss the game.
Oh,
I want to keep playing it and stuff like that. I just need to figure out.
You just need to look past just trying to be like, this is what I have. This is what I have to work with. Because it's not like, unlike, for example, Fireteam Zero, where you draw your hand. You have access to everything, so you can do anything. And over time, your characters get more tired and stuff like that. So that's why you lose them. But there's ways. I thought there was ways to get them back.
There may be a hero that lets you do that.
I know the Sorceress, she has a card that she can pull all her lost cards back.
But another thing that I didn't bring up when we were talking about it earlier, you know, you lose it from resting or quick resting a card. You can lose it so you don't take damage.
Yep.
Or if you play a card that has that
X. Yep.
X symbol that goes away too.
Yep.
So it's like.
But those are usually your biggest.
No, I understand. It's just, and I won't drag on it.
Right.
That's just one thing. I just want to explore it more and see how it goes.
Okay, so now on to the actual list. My number 10 is a game I actually just played this week. Actually a couple days ago. This is the only game I don't have a run through for, and it's actually Alien Artifacts. Like, have you?
I know a little bit about
so,
it. I mean, I know enough about it to.
Pretty much, I'm sure the thing you've heard about it was it's a 4X game in an hour. Dude, it meets that.
Yeah.
It actually succeeded in doing that. Alien Artifacts, if you don't know, is one of the newest games by Portal, where you have a faction or a race of people that you're just doing a 4X game. Exploit, expand, exterminate, and explore. Yeah, yep. And so all you do is, you have credits to buy cards, and then you put those into under construction area. It kind of feels like Imperial Settlers 54 States, because you have that column with your under construction, and then you spend resource cards, either red for ships, blue for technologies, and green for planets to move them over for your ships. You can either attack, but they also have a logistics side, which give you, upgrades and perks. Right. And then your technologies, one side will be for victory points, the other side for, perks. And then your planets, which will allow you to get resources, and also for perks. So the game, and it's, because you do an action a turn. So it's like, boom, go, boom, and you're just constantly going. And it's not too brain burny to where you're like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. You pretty much know as soon as you're playing, this is what I want to go for. It's fantastic. I'm very shocked that they actually did what they were saying. Because, it's under an hour. Yeah, an hour per player or something like that. Right. So, Alien Artifacts is my number 10.
All right, my number 10 is Bunny Kingdom.
Nope.
Yeah, it's a really dumb name, and you think it's but it's pretty awesome. I mean, you are battling as bunnies. Okay. You each have your faction of bunnies, and it's area control. It's a 10 by 10 grid map, and you're actually taking care of fiefdoms and stuff. Okay. And you get points, and you're battling, and you're just getting resources. You get carrots, dirt, and I can't remember what the third one is. But you gain resources. You just take them on. It's just balls to the wall bunnies killing bunnies.
Why'd they use bunnies?
I don't know. It's just
what is up with the what's the word? With taking cute animals and make them slaughter each other.
Well, I mean, it's I think it's a way to get a broader audience, because think about it, would Mice and Mystics have been as popular if they didn't use if they used humans?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Or this new one coming out, the Stuffed Fables or whatever, that's going to be stuffed animals that doing stuff.
It is unique.
You do it because then it gets my girls like Bunny Kingdom because they're bunnies in it, and but it's a war game. I mean, it's a battling game and area control and stuff like that.
I mean, it does sound like
you're
it's
drafting
right up my
cards,
alley.
stuff like that.
Cool.
It's a pretty sweet game.
What does it do different than every other area control?
It's such a confined. It's 10 by 10 little grid.
Okay.
And I mean, it's not uncommon to score in the hundreds of points.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a big point game.
Point salad.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
It's a fun one though.
Did not expect that to be on your list.
Yep.
All right, my number 9 is actually a game set in the Legend of the Five Rings universe called Battle for Rokugan. So this is also an area control game, and I think the reason why it's on the list, because the game is actually really good. You play one of the clan members in the Legend of the Five Rings universe that each have like their own token pool, and this is really cool because you don't have a hand of cards. Your hand is a pool of tokens that you draw, and then you flip them behind your screen.
Right.
And you do actions based off what you get. Some of them are armies that you put on a border to signify who you're attacking, and then those people can with their own army tokens put them in that area to defend, and then whoever it's just so streamlined and quick that you get this area control game also done really fast. And I'm in an RPG for Legend of the Five Rings, so I love this universe.
Right.
It's so awesome. I was playing as the Dragon Clan, done the run through, as I said. Dragon Clan, who are awesome, and they're more about like kind of territory owning and enshrining. So I can kind of like, hey, you can't attack me here. Another thing that's really cool is because as soon as someone owns a territory, they get a card, and each faction or each territory has a power card. That once you use it, it's gone from the game. Mm-hmm. But if I don't use it and someone takes it, I lose that.
Right.
So it's a game Kat actually liked as well, and I didn't expect her to like this game at all because it's war, and oh man, by the end of it we're all like oh my god, and you each have a secret objective.
Right.
It just did that really well. Would I like it as much if it wasn't in the Legend of the Five Rings world? Probably not as much, but it's still a really good game.
Right.
But I mean, and it's in the world, so it only helps me from there.
Right. My number 9 is on my list because of the world as well.
Really?
Yep.
Folklore?
Fallout.
Oh god. Okay.
Fallout Solo.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Solo because that is the better way to play it. It's I'm the biggest Fallout guy. I mean, I've been playing them since they were on the old PC back in the early 90s, the very first one.
Yeah.
Or late, mid, whatever. It's thematic in that, especially with Solo, because you can choose which direction you want to help. You got quests that you complete. You're traveling around killing junk, and you're, helping. Just like in the video game, if it's Brotherhood and Enclave, you choose which side you want to kind of help, and you're trying to get them to help win. You're trying to collect influence for yourself, because if you have that influence, you win. Yeah. No matter who wins on that track. Right. And if you're helping, let's say, the Brotherhood, and they finish before you have that points, then you don't win. Yeah. So you're just trying to help aside, because that'll just help you with the agenda points that you draw and stuff like that as well. And it's just, a 2-player is tolerable, as long as you're both Fallout people. Yeah. Because that helps a lot if you're a Fallout person. Mm-hmm. But don't play it with 4 people, with 3 people that don't play Fallout. Yeah. Three didn't work either. It's brutal. Yeah. Solo's the best. And that's a real shame. I did rate it as if I didn't play it solo, but I could see what it would be like solo. And I'm like, it's obviously better with that. And I think they could really do wonders if they come out with more of those, like an expansion with more of those. More cars, yep. I think so too. Just to kind of help out. Well, it relieves me that it's not that high on your list. Because I was like, man, he's going to be like, Fallout. Wonderful, great stuff. Fallout is my number 1 game of 20 because it's Fallout. It was close to making my disappointing. All right. Oh, okay, well that's good. So my number 8 is actually a new series that we're doing on the channel. A lot of people are actually looking forward to it as well, and I am too, and that's Charterstone. So Charterstone, I was surprised that Dice Tower didn't really care for it as much, but it's Stonemaier Games, and they could really do no wrong in my eyes. And this game is adorable. Oh my god.
Like, we just started this series, and we played it a couple times. There'll be videos up. And I only wanted to do it with Kat. I was like, I don't want to get anyone else. I just want to do a couples kind of, because I assumed it was that kind of game. It's very villagey. Just my village has a cat cafe in it, and you can have cat workers that do certain things if you have them. It is adorable, and it works really well as a legacy game too. They actually did a good. The first game you play is pretty much tutorial-ish. You're just going through the rules, learning together, and then you always have Automa players, so they kind of speed the game up as well. And as for the worker placement side, it's so quick. You put your people in, and then if you go to a spot that someone else is, you just bump them off, and they can go. You don't block anyone.
Right.
So if I go to here, to this spot to get, a pumpkin, and I get my pumpkin, I still do that, then they want that. They just go there and get a pumpkin, and then I take my move so I can keep doing actions.
Oh, so if you get bumped off, then you get to replace them?
Yeah, you just get to go back.
Cool.
So there's a strategy of, okay, well, what did they need that I also need, so maybe I can get an action back. And if you ever run out and they don't bump you off, your whole turn is recalled.
Is there, I know this would be really stupid, but is there a way, so if they take your spot, you go away and then you get to put yours back out?
Yeah.
Can you guys just keep bouncing each other off?
Yeah. Yep, you can even do it to yourself. You can go on the pumpkin spot and then take another worker, go on the pumpkin spot, bump yourself off, and you can just cycle that way.
My wife's wanting me to get that game. So.
Dude, get it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. I've heard the story of it isn't that strong. I'm not really playing it for that. I'm playing for kind of the legacy aspect of, hey, what can my village look like by the end of this? So, yeah, my number 8. And the reason why it's not higher is because I haven't played a whole lot of it yet.
Right.
So, Charlie.
All right. My number 8 is Dice Forge.
I haven't played it. I forgot one.
It is a super duper, it's a simplistic game. It's the one where you actually change the faces of your die.
That is cool.
You gain resources, and then you spend those resources in the buy phase to buy new faces for your dice to make it more powerful. The cool thing is when when somebody rolls their dice, everybody gets those resources.
Oh, okay.
So you're gaining, if you play a 4-player game, you're going to be getting resources on all their turn plus your turn. So it really builds up resources.
Right.
And then you're buying stuff, you're getting cards. It's a very simple game, and it will need a expansion. And it'd be easy to do it. You wouldn't have to get new dice faces, just new cards. Because you just put, I think it's 8 or 9 piles of cards around the thing. Is all.
See, I like when games do that, where the game is solid enough on its own, and you just want more content. Like Cryhouse did that, where it's like the game is really good. I just want more cards.
Because they give you several. They give you, I think you have 4 extra that you don't use maybe.
Yeah.
So you can mix and match, but then all they need to do is just come up with some more piles of decks to replace.
Small box expansion.
And that's really all there is to say about it. It's the dice game that you change the faces. And it's really
fun. It was very popular. And I actually forgot about it. I didn't get a chance to play it. But okay. My number 7, which you may think would be higher on my list, but it's not. Pandemic Legacy Season 2 is my number 7. You just actually make yourself throw up and be like, damn, dude. No, so obviously Pandemic Legacy Season 1 I think was way higher on my 2016 list. This one is good, and I do I am enjoying it a lot because the exploration aspect is really cool. Like, not only do you recon to open up the world that you're limited to, but also a lot of cards, whenever you draw supply lines to cities that come in, have that, I don't know what it's called, but that lottery stuff that you scrape off. And so that's a lot of other exploration that if you don't do that, you're not going to get, benefits or things that other people probably got early on.
Right.
So it's not only opening up the world, which just adds more cities, it's getting that exploration feel. And also, I really like the fact that it was Pandemic Legacy Season 1 eventually came down to, this is a glorified pandemic, which makes sense, but you're playing, for the first couple games, you're just playing regular Pandemic, and slowly it evolves into something more. This one from the get-go starts off at, you're playing reverse Pandemic. You're putting cubes on the board, you're going to these places from havens, picking up supply cubes to drop them off to protect them from, the infection deck. I honestly think if you played this, you would actually like it because it's not pandemic. The mechanics are still there, and they're still pretty much the same, but it feels different. That's why it's 7 and higher than the rest.
I've already ruined it for myself, though.
Oh, have you?
Because I watched Robert Chad playing it in the 4th or 5th month, and I just didn't watch him play it.
Oh. All right, well, never mind.
Because I knew
Don't
I
do that
wasn't
then. The character creation. The character creation is actually really cool. Unlike the first one where you just gave your name to a guy, you actually pick, a picture of who you are,
right.
the attributes and stuff, and so you feel more attached to these characters. I think they did everything right. I also still haven't finished it yet, but it's getting ready. The shit's about to hit the fan like they typically do.
Yeah.
So that's my number 7.
All right, my number 7 is Photosynthesis.
Okay.
Again, I've said it before. It's a simplistic game, but yet you have to do some thinking. You have to think ahead a few moves because the sun's rotating around to know if you're going to be in shade at that point, or if they're going to have enough time to grow their tree to not get you light point or sun points.
Yeah.
To do stuff, you need to know when that perfect time when you can whatever they cut down your tree or
I don't remember. Yeah. I guess I would be cutting down the tree. I thought it was just they just died.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yay, points.
But anyway, yeah, it's a simple game with some solid
it is
stuff on it.
It's like a kid's game, but also for adults.
And it's pretty.
It is very
fun
and
it's
very
unique
pretty to look at.
Which is another thing.
Yeah.
There is no forest themed games that I know.
I know. There's definitely no tree growing games.
Right.
Yeah, this is one of those games you can just be like, hey, let's play this, and that's that.
Right. So
it was just really quick to jump
it looks
into.
neat with all the trees out there and everything.
Yep.
So.
All right.
Number 7.
My number 6 is a reverse Arkham Horror, so it's Fate of the Elder Gods. This game was actually really, really cool. I first played it at Gen Con, and I've played it multiple times since. Just that fact that you're controlling a cultist, trying to summon your own Elder God, or no, your own Ancient One that also has its own power to try and win. That is such a cool theme to me, and it's a very, like, the first time playing it, we were like, this game is mean, because I didn't expect it to be so cutthroat. And so you just have your own cultists that you're trying to send. You have hand management, which they have symbols on the back, which correspond to locations on the board. Right. But they also count as spells, so you have hand management trying to figure out what to do with those. But whenever you go to a location, you have to have that icon, and you place it in a column, and then that this Cthulhu piece moves there, and you do the action on that. If you have control over that action, you get to do both actions there, and you can still have a chance of getting the second action. But yeah, pretty much all you're trying to do is get enough ways to use your ability, which most likely increase your summoning track, and screw over people by sending investigators there, which can hurt them by giving them elder signs, and then they can lose that way. The game works just extremely well, and that theme was pulled off awesomely as well. You would probably think reverse Arkham. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but being the cultist, you're sitting there and you're like, fuck you investigators, I hate you. And it's not co-op, so you're competing against other players, just screwing everyone over. Like, I had one Ancient One that I got to take people's cultists and put them, at least up to 2, into my lodge, my cultist lodge, my Westboro Baptist area. And then I could spend another action to eat them. And if I ate one, then I got to go up on my track. So they feel different, and then the expansion adds beasts, which it was one of those expansions that didn't immediately change the game, but it was there. Like, it came in once. So it was like, all right, and you could tell they were powerful, but they're hard to pull off because you're summoning beasts to come in. Very thematic, very awesome. Fate of the Elder Gods.
All right, my number 6, and it goes hand in hand, just like in the big list, is Baron Park.
Okay.
It's hard to find right now. I don't know when it's coming back in the print.
I think they talked about
there's company issues.
Yeah, I think they did mention it.
Redoing it.
Did you hear about? Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick. Did you hear that Photosynthesis was discontinued? Was that a real thing?
I think somebody else is. Somebody else is buying the rights to it.
Whoa, I see.
That's what I've been hearing.
I have that too, and I was like, already? Anyway.
Yeah, I think somebody else is getting the rights to it.
I gotcha. Okay. Baron Park.
Yeah, Baron Park. So you're building your own bear park. It's pretty good. It's tile laying. It's got Tetris-looking pieces. you start out with just this little barren piece of land, and you're purchasing, or you get a thing, and as you cover certain things up, it'll let you grab a tile. So if you cover, I can't remember the exact deal on it, if you cover up one particular, I think like the construction workers, then it'll let you get these ones kind of tiles and stuff. If you can get every spot on your deal filled out, except for like the little fountain or whatever, then you get bonus points. You can also get, I think you end up with like you can get up with like 4 plots of land by the end of the game, and you're just getting a bunch of points as you surround fountains and do stuff. There's the little stacks of tokens to get cheaper, kind of like same with photosynthesis. First one to get to that's worth more points.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
The deal. If you like tile laying games and you like the puzzle of trying to build something and
to fit them all together, right?
Yeah, and there's only a certain number of the little pieces that are only like 1 square or 2 squares. There's only certain numbers, so sometimes you may have to kind of waste a turn to grab a couple of those because you can keep them down here.
Oh, okay.
As you get them, and then place them as you go. But it's like you don't want to have like one tiny little space left open at the end, or else you.
Now, how's the artwork in that game actually? Because I haven't played it.
It's minimal.
Is it like that top-down view?
Yeah,
and you can kind of see your bear.
It almost reminds you of almost. I mean, I say Carcassonne. I don't mean it's that same kind of art, but it's like.
But that top-down, like that. But the tower is like this big. It's not actually a tower.
So it looks like little enclosures.
Oh, okay.
Bear enclosures. And
that
stuff
is
like that.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I should have got it at Gen Con.
That's where I played it first. I can't remember. I think Randall got it,
yep.
and then we played his, and then it was out of print, and I found somebody sold it to me cheap.
Awesome. All right. Well, halfway through this top 10, my number 5 is a game that I thought for sure would actually be higher on this list, but man, it just gets better from here. My number 5 is Spirit Island. Dear God, I love this theme. This theme is so cool. Now it's like, so you play spirits, and I just uploaded this to where you are fighting off invaders coming onto this land. Now, the way the game looks isn't that great, except for the card artwork. But yeah, you have power cards that you're trying to do to be able to effectively work together to scare these islanders off, or not the islanders, these invaders off, and win the game. What they do so well, probably better than a lot of other co-op games, is unlike, let's say, Pandemic, where everyone has the same type of actions that, hey, we're just doing them in different orders. This one is every spirit plays different, and you need everyone to coordinate really well, because it's like, hey, I can do a lot of fear and scare them, but I can't do any damage. And it's like, okay, well, I can do a lot of damage, but I can't, defend the areas. Oh, I can defend, I can heal.
Right.
And so everyone's working together, and it's one of my favorite mechanics of this game is that your powers have fast and slow reaction time. And the way the turn order works is you all, choose your cards and pay energy for them, and then you choose, and then fast powers activate. Then everyone, and you do them in any order really you want, then that happens. Then the invaders go, and they do their whole fuck over the island phase.
Right.
Then the slow powers go. So you definitely have that strategic element of, okay, well, we really want to do this, and this is an awesome plan, but all these powers are slow.
Right.
So they're going to hit the land, and then we'll do it. So it's like, well, let's get some fast ones. But then there's other spirits, powers that affect.
Right.
One of the best co-op games I've ever played.
I need to try it sometime. I've heard good things.
It's fantastic. It is hard as hell. A complaint that the person I played it with said she didn't like the fact that we would do something awesome, and then the invaders' turn would kind of just omit all of that.
Right.
I was like, I understand that. I like that tug of war where you do something awesome, they do something awesome back. You do something awesome, and then you're just, if you can do that enough to where over time you're doing a little bit better, then you'll eventually win. The expansion is hard to get. It's actually out of stock. I just want more spirits because they all play different.
Right.
And they did a great job with the rulebook teaching you how to play. That's also a plus. Number 5, Spirit Island.
My number 5 is my only kind of cheaty one.
It's actually 5 games.
No. It's one game. It is a long-time reprint that came out in 2017.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you if you put any reprints.
Well, it's the only one, and the reason is because the other one was so long out of print.
All right, fair enough.
It's Coliseum.
Oh, okay.
The Emperor's Edition, Kickstarter, all that jazz came out in 2017. So a lot of people that have gotten into gaming over the last 6, 7, 8 years haven't had access to this game.
Yeah.
You know, so it's new, you know.
But I'll give you a pass on that one.
It's a great game. It's you're putting on shows, trying to put on the best show for the Emperor and people of Rome. The interesting thing that I've said before was I think you do 4 years and there's a put on show phase at the end, so you'll get points for that, but then the only time your point track will go up is if you put on a show that is actually higher points. If you put on a show that's lower points, you don't go down. So technically what it's saying is the best show you put on in 4 years is your end-game score. So if you put 102 points in the year 4, you're going to be at 102 points. And so it's whoever puts up the highest over those 4 years.
I think that's cool thematically
wins.
too.
And it's cool. It's got a tiny little roll and move aspect to it, but it doesn't hinder the game. It's not like it's a.
That's fine.
If you roll bad,
I don't really
do
hate
anything.
roll and move as much.
It's pretty much that's how you just get important figures into or keep them away from other people's deals. You know, it's and you're just upgrading your Coliseum. You can make it bigger to host bigger shows because you can only take certain shows depending on how big you're. So if your thing is 3 sections. Then that's when you can only get the 3-section show.
Okay.
Circus Maximus and stuff like that, the really big ones that are worth a lot of points and stuff. So, but no, it's wonderful. I was glad I picked it up because I was never able to play the original.
Right. Yeah, I stayed away from reprints.
I was going
as much as possible, but I think that's a pretty good justification. Like if it was like, oh, it's reprinted a couple of years ago, it's like, what? Or if you can still get the original.
Right.
Okay. Number 4, my number 4 is a game that I, once again, don't understand how no one has played this or even heard of it, and it's Overlords of Infamy. I've talked about this actually multiple times in other lists, but essentially this game was one of my first Kickstarters I did on the channel, and then it just got, basically it was a solid game then, and now it's just a prettier version of that. You would play one of those almost like joke of a henchman or of a villain that just does all these nefarious plots that are just inconveniences, and then slowly, depending on the level of plot you play, they just get worse. And it's pretty much, like I've said, is your bog standard worker placement. You have action points that you can spend to build or destroy the land or I can't remember exactly what it's called, but to play tiles in your area which you can put workers on to get resources, and then your resources are used to finish plots that you have. My favorite thing about this game is the fact that that they brought in so much humor into this game that it feels like Megamind or Gru, where it's just like humorous acts of villainy and a lot of references and stuff like that. So not only that, but you have your Kingdom of Good, hero meeple who everyone controls if certain things happen. So you kind of screw each other over that way. Then if you and another player share a border, or you both connect to the Kingdom of Good, you can do acts of espionage against each other. And depending on your evil level, you can do really bad ones. They just go up from there. Okay. And it's just absolutely a solid game. I want other people to play it, but I have my copy, so that's all that matters. Number 4.
All right, my number 4 is Massive Darkness.
I haven't played that one yet.
It is a beast of a game.
I haven't played it.
I have everything the Kickstarter offered except for one of the elementals.
Fucking loser.
Part,
It's the best
and
part.
they're not coming out with it retail, they said.
Of course
now,
not.
So
Why
which
would
is
they?
fine. It's not a big deal. Those weren't the most popular anyway. But anyway, pretty much this is a cooperative dungeon crawl.
Oh, it is cooperative.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. And you are it's cool mini or not. I mean, it's got awesome looking miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
It has a really cool light and dark aspect.
Okay.
Certain bad guys are weaker in the light and better in the dark, so there's like lanterns around different places, and
cool.
some heroes are better in the dark or in the light as
that's
well.
Interesting.
There's like the rogues or whatever. I can't remember what she's called, but she's really good when she's in the dark. She has a special ability that'll happen and stuff. So you have to. So it's kind of tactical in that you need to be knowing where the light and dark is and stuff. You will, when you go in and you like go into a new room, there'll be a room card you'll draw, or when you open the door actually, and it'll tell you to spawn a guard here.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever here.
So you don't know what's behind there until then.
And then the big monsters that you see like on the Kickstarter, those are called roaming monsters. So if anything ever says spawn a roaming monster on this, then you'll spawn them clear like. It'll go one level above you, so if you're on the level 1 area, then it'll spawn on the level 2 board that you haven't gotten to yet. Yeah. You can't go to the level 2 board until you're actually level 2.
Oh, okay.
As you level up, you know, so, but then it'll start moving and get closer, and they're pretty big badasses.
Oh,
but it comes with the, if you play Black Plague,
it has that track. I did like
the
that.
plastic tracks and all that stuff that you keep your cards in and everything. And
does it kind of work like Black Plague like that, or is that
I haven't played Black Plague.
I'm in Zombie Side. Zombie Side had the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have the track, but
right. I mean, you can tell
that's what
it's got influence.
Okay.
But it's just a badass game, and there's so many minis and so many things and hero packs and monster packs.
How does the combat work?
It is it's dice.
Dice. Oh, I guess I don't know why I asked.
There's like blue, yellow. Like the sword will say like. Certain weapons will say it's one red and one blue or whatever, and then they'll have their defense dice. You roll them all together, and then hit with shields, block.
Okay.
It's the typical
pretty streamlined though.
Typical stuff, and when monsters spawn, they'll get a loot card under them. So if for some reason it's the same kind of weapon loot that they're able to use, then they can use it.
Oh, okay.
If not, then you get it after you kill them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a blast. I mean, I still have just scratched the surface, but I have a blast with it.
Awesome. And you're playing a solo
game, so far. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
But that was one I won. That is one of the ones I wanted to play, but didn't get a chance to. All right, top 3 games of 2017. My number 3 is This War of Mine.
Yeah.
Like, that goes without saying. Like, no game has pretty much done any sense of like morality that This War of Mine does. And once again, if you really look at it, a lot of these games are, at least the top 5 are just unique themes that haven't been touched on. This War of Mine, you're not fighting the war, you're not killing people inherently. You are the result of war. So already from the get-go, it is a dark game. And so whenever you are playing, you're all living in this house trying to, make upgrades, get resources to upgrade the house and make it a little bit more livable. I have the Kickstarter version, so it just comes with just different variants you can play. Like the one I did for the channel was we did the children variant. So they didn't do anything, but we had to make sure that they were happy. And so that just adds another level of stress that you're just like, oh my God. Someone just got their head blown off at their doorstep. Hey, don't look out here. So it's just, I have enough disconnect when I play games that I'm not weeping at the table. But I know there are some people who it's hard for them, and that's fine. But I'm like, well, it's a game, and I want to win the game, so I'll make decisions that I probably wouldn't do in real life.
Right.
But you can easily do that. You can role play this game out because if you're playing with people, works best solo, I think. But you don't control a certain person. You control, all 4 of them, and you assign them differently to do certain actions that they're capable of doing. And so you can role play them out that way. And then at the end, it does a night phase where you go out to locations to scavenge and have encounters all out there. Man, it is just an awesome, awesome game. And I've been looking for the. Because I didn't know there were add-ons. That's my one biggest problem with Kickstarter. It's like, every time it's like, what about these add-ons? I'm like, isn't that part of the Kickstarter? I'm like so worried I'm going to pay for more, but add-ons are like never a part of the Kickstarter, right? Okay.
Well, it depends.
Damn it, okay.
Sometimes they're paid add-ons that you have to...
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The ones that are like, hey, a mat that you can buy for $20.
Right.
So like, they
have a big package deal that says includes...
Okay. So with This War of Mine, it came with, I have a lot of Kickstarter stuff that I like, but they have like individual character scenarios and stuff like that. So I was like, I just want those. because you also have to worry about the status of the people that are trying to live in this house. Like, almost, if out of this top 10, 11 technically, I think it is one of the most thematic, if not the most thematic game. But yeah, there's just 2 more that beat it out. So that's my number 3, This War of Mine.
My number 3, I just put on the list. Well, I haven't had this list very long.
Yesterday.
It would have just jumped on the list not long ago because I kickstarted it a couple months ago, but I got to play the first edition that came out.
Oh, Folklore?
People.
Did it really?
Yeah, that just came out to people a few months ago. The Kickstarter backers were getting it. Was Folklore the
Wow.
Wonderful,
really?
wonderful game. I'm smitten with it. I'm not regretting spending $333.
Fair enough.
On
That's
Kickstarter
good.
at all.
That's good.
I've never played anything that is filled with story and stuff. I mean, it's just theme out the wazoo.
Out the wazoo.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible the stuff you can do. You can craft items. You can decide to go off road if you want, but you might run into tougher encounters. You know, daytime and night.
Co-op?
Yeah, daytime and nighttime matters. It'll depend because every road card you turn, there's a day side and a night side. So depending on if it's day or night, will decide on what happens. When you go to the big cities, there's a card for the big cities, and you can shop there. What's cool is when you first start the game, you pick a character. Like, let's say you pick a witch hunter or something like that. Before you even start the game, there's a line at the bottom. There's 2 different versions. You can start, are you going to be in a, I don't know, I can't think right off the top of my head, but there's 2 versions of the witch hunter. Whichever way you choose, they're really different. One may be more of a magic one may be more aggressive and whatever. Once you pick that deal and you start and you open up your little booklet, then it has, you level up, you can only use that tree. So it's a way to really focus on, make your person one style. You know, plus each character has certain things that they can only do at towns. So like if you have some sort of a magician or something, or a wizard, they can do special things at a town that none of the other ones can do, you know, buy certain things or whatever. When you die in this game, you become a ghost.
Okay.
Which the version that we have, has like bluish see-through minis.
Oh, that's
that
cool.
becomes, it's the exact same sculpt and everything.
Yeah.
And that means you're a ghost. You can still play, you still have abilities, not as many abilities, but you can still do stuff. You have a certain number of turns, you can do that before you go into limbo.
Okay.
So when you're a ghost, you need to try to get to a city to be healed or resurrected, or whatever you want to call, and then you become
healed.
You become,
we'll just patch up
you
that
become a
wound
person.
on
You know,
your
but once you
ghost.
go to limbo, it's harder. You have to go to like the church.
Wow.
And then you become a ghost. You just like backtrack. You go from church, you go from limbo to ghost to.
Oh, I see. I see.
But it's so much like a game like Skyrim or something. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going out and you're just adventuring. You're picking up items. If you get a crafting card that says combine these 2 things and make this cool thing.
I guess my question would be, so it's open-ended. Like
Pretty much. I mean, there's a storyline.
Okay.
Because you're doing chapters in a book is kind of what, because it's European mythology, so it's like our Little Red Riding Hoods and our you know, stuff like us, but it's the European versions of like nightmares and.
I wish I'd known that. I would have backed it.
You know,
my family's
right. It's really cool. Like the monsters are all, and the coolest thing about it, just to make this short, is every mini in there. If you look on the bottom base, is stamped with what it is.
Oh, okay.
Simple thing, but like, all the minis have it. Even I mean, everything says exactly what it is. You don't have to sit there and kind of
be like, that kind of looks like.
And every token in the game, on the back side, says what it does.
That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome.
So all you have to do is like, you know, somebody tosses you this token for, I don't know, bandages. You flip it over and it says, oh, that bandages is like +2 healing.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it's all out there for you. You don't have to have, like we were talking about earlier with the little guide.
Right,
stuff,
yeah.
You know? If you have tokens, it says on the back what it does.
Cool.
You know, and stuff. And I mean, it's.
Is this available
it's
for
the most-
pre-order?
You
for late play?
It's still late back.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah. It's,
$300 down.
The all-in pledge was $333.
Okay.
And that's before shipping. I think shipping's gonna be about $30.
That's not bad.
Or something too. But I mean, You just have to go to
sounds right up my alley. Yeah.
Greenbrier Games.
Okay.
That's who does it.
Cool.
So,
cool.
Yeah, great game.
But still only number 3, huh?
Well, because I haven't played it that much. I only played it those.
That's
I only
right.
played those 2 times.
Yeah.
Last week, so it would probably be.
Because I remember you were like jacking it when you were telling me about it.
Yep,
I'm like, dude, what the heck is wrong with you?
Yep.
All right, number 2. Is that what we're on?
Yes.
Yeah. So my number 2 is Anachrony.
There you go.
Yep. Were you waiting for it?
I figured it was number 1.
Nope. Anachrony is a fantastic word. It's my favorite worker placement game, I think. Because, oh man, it's so brain burning. I love brain burning games. I'm just like, I love that like constant, just trying to think of every possible way to be efficient. Here's the thing. Anachrony is a very, very heavy game. Probably one of the heaviest games I actually own to play. But it's not one of those games where it's like, so how does all this work? Like a fiddly rule book. Everything just ties in together so smoothly to where what you are is you're a faction that's trying to not prevent the end of the world, but you know it's coming. A meteor's about to hit, so you're trying to plan for that by going back in time, getting resources, and planning accordingly. Then when the world and the meteor crashes and you're trying to survive, whoever has the most points at the end is the faction the new government, the new, hey, everyone looks up to us. So you start off with your faction. You have certain workers that you use to put in exosuits to go do main board actions. Over time, you'll be able to build buildings which will go into certain spots into your faction board, which then you can start using your people to do building actions in there. Trying to gather enough resources while also being able to borrow resources from the past to help you in the present, but then you have to remember to get sent back in time to go be like, hey, by the way, that stuff you let me borrow, here it is, so you don't get negative points or potential anomalies that will also be negative points and kill off your people. Like, I haven't done any of the variants, I haven't done any of the modules because each time I play this game, it is awesome. Like, and the game isn't so open in like some worker placements where, like Feast for Odin, for example, it's like, hey, here's 50 different spots you can go. Have fun. Right. Like this one, you have a goal because to be able to evacuate, to get a shit ton of bonus points during a certain point in the game, you have to meet a top criteria.
Right.
And then so that kind of gives you a goal of what to aim for. You don't have to do it until you can maybe do it, round 3, but you can start doing and working on that. Then you can evacuate, then you'll get bonus points and all that. So each faction, like you build differently, you create this like fluid, network of like one time I was playing and I just had a constant flow of water which I was using as resources and building, and I never pissed off my people by trying to force them to wake up.
Right.
There's so much to this game that I want the expansion so badly because I think it comes with miniatures. I think it's really all it was just exosuit minis.
So, I'm not sure. I don't know much about
right. But Skyrock, I knew it was going to be extremely high on this list because I am just enamored with it. But yeah, number 2. You thought it was number 1, huh?
Yep.
All right.
Because I don't have any clue to guess on yours. My number 2 might surprise you a little bit. My number 2 is Unfair.
No way.
Yep. I really enjoy that game.
Wow.
I mean, I've never had an experience with that game as many times as I've played it that's been bad. I like the screw you type deal in that.
To take
theme.
that element.
Yeah, just to kind of having it in that theme is funny and
well, yeah, because you're like swindlers, like monopolies on your own theme park, so you're just trying to be like, hey, they're not really up to code. Will you go check them out?
And the variants of the factions they have now, but just knowing that they're going to have all these other factions coming out just is going to add more craziness to it. The ones I've been seeing are going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, see, but here's the thing. I think they're going to be interesting if they bring the theme out more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the ones that are in the box, they do certain things. And really what it is, like not the super projects, the big roller coasters that you can build, those are what I feel like a lot of the other cards should be as well.
Because I'm only doing one of the 4.
Oh, you are? Oh, you don't have all? Okay.
Right. What they did is they split it so that people,
gotcha.
wouldn't have all of them to do stuff with.
Fair enough.
The one I'm doing is pretty cool.
Is it?
And it's gonna be It uses a lot of counters.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be interesting. But anyway, Unfair is wonderful.
Wow.
It's theme park done the best I've seen it done. And
yeah.
You know, and
you do get to look back and be like, hey, this is the strategy I went with. Here's my theme park.
I mean, you're building something, and I always like when you're actually.
It did not make my list. It was a contender, but ultimately I did record it, and it will be on the channel. But ultimately, it came down to because I won during each time I played, except what you and I didn't finish. But it was like. Just a theme for the different factions wasn't brought out enough.
Right.
And you can get, I mean, it's unfair, and so you can just get hosed, and
right.
I mean, that's that.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, that's my two.
All right, so number one.
No idea.
You have no idea?
Not right off the top of my head.
Wow.
I was going to guess an Akron.
Okay.
I really don't.
No, my number one is Gloom Haven.
Oh, okay. Damn, I should have guessed that.
Yeah. I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, well, if I hadn't said it by now, you had to know it was going to be on the list.
Yeah.
So Gloom Haven, here's how much I like this game. I see where you're coming from. I completely disagree. But Gloom Haven has that open world, kind of how Folklore was giving that feel. Gloom Haven has the exact same thing for me.
But you don't have time to do it.
You just suck, apparently. I have never ran into that issue of running out of cards. I've come close, but it was never like, by the time I got to, because the scenarios aren't long.
I know, but that's still, like, the times we actually did win, or, you know, that I didn't even make it to the last room.
Yeah.
Like, they used their last turn. Every game we played, they used their last turn to kill the final bad guy.
Yeah.
So then all those treasure chests you don't get either.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, oh, we killed the bad guy, we're too exhausted to get the treasure. You know, it's just like, I don't know. It's strange.
I haven't ran into that.
And I want to play it more. I'm not.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can hate on it all.
The legacy aspect of this thing, where you are story building, in that you start off with, hey, here's your first scenario, and then pretty much from there, you're like, hey, here's 3 other quests you can go to, and those all branch off, and then you can also go back to Gloom Haven to buy items, and that same thing where you can go to cities to buy stuff and have city encounters, and sometimes quests within the city. You do all that, and then you level up, which gives you better cards to put into your hand. I'm playing it solo, and doing a solo series on the channel, and so I'm controlling 2 people. And I love that more because, the one thing I wouldn't like was not knowing what my teammates are going to do. Like, hey, you can vaguely talk. It's like that time story stuff where you're reading a card. And I'll paraphrase. I don't like doing any of that. So I get to know, okay, I'm going to use the sorcerer to do this, and then my Inox brute to do this.
Right.
And be efficient both times, but also still try and meet their objectives. I really love that hand management thing where you play 2, because you choose which one, you choose your pair, and you place them down. And then every enemy has their own deck, so they all react. It's a really good AI system as well, so they can so they play differently, more than just, oh, here's what all enemies do. They all move forward or something dumb like that. Then they have an initiative, so then you flip your cards, and then you're like, oh crap, well I didn't know they were going to go that quick. Well, how can I? You can mix and match. It's not like a set in stone ability. You play 2, and it gives you a bunch of options to react. It's not like, well, I'm glad I wasted those.
I think I wouldn't have as big of a problem with it if the only time you lost a card in your deck was if you did the quick rest or if you played using the ability on the card. I think you're penalized enough when you do the slow rest or the long rest.
Oh, because of the 99 initiative.
That you're not taking a turn.
Yeah.
You're just healing 3 points. You
Yeah.
heal, and why do you still have to get rid of a card? I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're not taking a turn. Like, I could see losing it if you want to do a quick rest so you can go.
Random, yeah.
I mean, I
guess you can house rule it.
Yeah, even something like that, just to make it more.
Yeah, I think for me it gives me that it's a new element of strategy where it's like, okay, do I want to take a short rest at the end of every turn if I want to? I don't heal, but I'll get my cards back. Okay, that's great.
You still have to lose 1 randomly.
You still lose 1 randomly, and that's the risk you take to getting them all back.
Right.
Or it's like, okay, no, I'll wait. I'll take a long rest. I'll take some damage and then heal that up. But then I get to choose, which is way better than, because I've gotten screwed on the random, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
No, never once have I been upset. I love the way that each scenario has played out so far. I love the fact that you feel powerful from the get-go, but also it's just like, oh my god, so each scenario has already been different. Right. And the story aspect of it feels like, it's D&D the board game, man, like it really is. I love how there's no luck. Well, I mean, I guess the initiative.
Your cards too in battle.
Oh,
you flip the...
Oh, the attack modifiers, yes. So my very first game, I messed up on that. I had, you know how each character has their own, modifier deck? I was playing with that. So I was like, man, I'm just awesome. So my first run through of it, I'm just like, every interview I have, I'm just like, yeah, guys, just so you know, once again, that's not a real thing.
Yeah.
But that, Gloom Haven is awesome, and once again, it's one of those things that the more and more I play it, like I've barely scratched the surface.
Yeah, and I want to get it too. I mean, like I said, that thing's not going to kill it for me. It's just something I need to
I think maybe alter your way of thinking. Just be like, hey, I only have 10. Be like, I have these 10. Yeah. How can I best use them to my ability? You know? Because what would piss me off more about this game is if you did have a deck. You're like, I really need to attack. Oh, I'm not getting any attack cards. Right. You have everything your character can do, and then as you level up, you can adjust it. And then I'm sure, and then the items you can get. You mentioned the treasures and stuff like that. That's one of those things. That's that risk. Hey, do I want to take this time to move? Because you can just move across the battlefield and then just immediately get it. Right. I have both. Basically, my sorceress is really high on experience, but my brute is really high on money. Right. So they're kind of balancing. So that's my number one, Gloom Haven.
You know what mine is?
Voyages of Marco Polo.
Nope, that wasn't one in 2017.
Yes, it was.
The reprint. The reprint came out. It was a 2016 game.
No, I have no idea then.
Dinosaur Island.
Oh fuck! I forgot that was number one. That came out not too long ago.
Especially the deluxe edition.
Okay.
It has all the different dinosaur deals, the metal coins, and all that jazz. I've played this many times already, and it just gets better every time. Yeah. It's broken down into 4 really structured phases, so it's easy to teach. You just teach it a phase at a time. Yeah. It's resource management. You're managing your DNA, and then you have work. So the first part, you're getting your DNA. You're choosing dice, or because you have these little scientist things. You're choosing to get DNA. You're choosing to raise the ceiling limit of one of your DNA lines. Or you are picking up a building thing to start researching dinosaurs. It's called Recipe. That you can place. So everybody does all that, and then you go to the worker placement, or no, the buying phase. So there's like rides, restaurants, and stuff. There's stuff that alters your tool bench, which is your lab, which is what in front of you, and then there are cards that are workers that you can hire. You can have up to 3 that do special things. They have abilities and stuff. So you go around all the players twice. Everybody has 2 chances to buy something. Okay. And there's modifiers on it and stuff. Right. And then when you buy the stuff, you place it wherever. After you do that, then you go to the worker placement phase. So all your workers you have on your own little toolbox or lab, you place them and do stuff. So you can create dinosaurs, you can add to your security, you can make your enclosures bigger to hold more dinosaurs. So you're doing all, and everybody does that all at the same time. So it's not like taking a long time. Yeah. So everybody kind of does that and everything. You can gain money, whatever, because you're going to modify things to make them more efficient too. Okay. As you buy the stills, and after you do that, then it becomes park phase. So then what it does is it looks at your excitement level, which is something that goes up as you buy more dinosaurs and stuff like that. And that's so if your excitement level's 5, then 5 visitors will be coming to your park. So you reach into this bag, and in this bag there's 70. Patrons, which are paying visitors, and there's 10 hooligans that don't pay. They push their way through line. They don't count as victory points. All that stuff. So when you draw out those 5, you have to place the pink first into attractions, just to take up spaces. Yeah. And then you put the yellow ones in any other spots that you can have room for. And then any of them you don't have room for have to stay out in line outside of your park. And then there's like then the dinosaur. Safety phase. So if the threat level is higher than your security level, By however many the threat level is above that, so let's say it's 3 to 1, then the dinosaurs are going to need two
oh my
patrons, right? So it's Jurassic Park, the board game.
That's what I was about to say.
But they don't eat the hooligans. So,
oh, well, of course
because
not.
they're good at hiding and stuff. So
because they throw the other people in front of them.
So if you lose patrons, you lose a victory point per patron that gets eaten.
Wow.
But then after all that's done, if your security level's cool and everything, then at the end you get victory points for every yellow meeple still in the attraction, and then you reset, rinse, repeat, and do that again. And what ends the game is at the beginning you choose however many people are playing, they'll decide, but there's going to be objectives out here. So you can play a short game, a medium game, or a long game, so it makes them harder to accomplish. And then once all of them but one are completed, then that's the last round.
Okay.
So as you complete it, you have a little marker with your faction on it out there. So technically, if 2 people finish at the same time, on their turn, then they can both toss it out there. That's fine.
Okay.
But they're worth victory points as well. Once 2 of those, there's only one left, then it goes to end game.
Okay.
And then you just add up all your victory points. So it's like your enclosures has a star number on it. Let's say 2. If you had 3 dinosaurs, it's 2 times 3.
Oh, okay.
And that's how many victory points. And
cool. And they have like the dinosaur meeples, right?
Yeah, and the basic version I think just comes with, you'll just have a bunch of Triceratops.
Oh, okay.
Plastic meeples. If you got the deluxe version, there's 9 different sculpts.
Cool.
Of 7 dinosaurs that you can just kind of.
Yeah.
They don't mean anything different. It's just
for aesthetics.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the metal coins are unbelievable.
Charterstone has.
They're thick as hell. They're big and round.
Yep.
Painted.
Yep. No, well, these aren't painted.
You know.
Yeah.
I'll bring it next week.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
That was your best one of the year, huh?
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Yep. It is definitely the hot one right now. Everyone is trying to get their copy of Dinosaur Island.
Yeah.
All right. That is it, everyone. That was top 10 games of 2017. Let us know what your games were in the comments below. But other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you, and see you next year. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you want to support us, you can go ahead and click that link to go to my Patreon account. If you have any suggestions, you can go ahead and click the link in the show notes below to go to my Board Game Geek list. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.